Born in Washington, D.C., Jovon Quarles knew nothing but challenges. Raised by his grandparents due to a mother battling drug addiction and an absentee father, Jovon struggled to not become another statistic. After 2 teenage pregnancies, his grandparents urged him to join the military. Little did they know just what effect that would take on him. His journey to becoming a Navy SEAL was filled with struggle, but he was determined to succeed and inspire, which ultimately allowed him to join Fox's hit show, Special Forces: World's Toughest Test.
The new DS, Jovon Quarles, also known as Q, a prestigious United States Navy SEAL.
We don't get ready, we stay ready.
When you first start stepping in that water, your skin starts to feel like it's being stung by 100 bees at one time. For someone to stay in water that long, at these temperatures, you have to be more resilient and understand that your body can go past that limit. That's where you're gonna find out who you really are.
That side of you, of jumping around, bouncing around, giggly, goofy or whatever, from what I've been seeing, it's still been the same.
It's been harder for me than I thought it would be.
To get to the next phase of training, it's going to take something else in you. You are going to have to find a way to tap into more of a attitude, aggressive personality. If you don't, you won't pass this course.
Icon presents Jovon Quarles. Welcome to Icon Presents. I am your host, Antoine Haynes, producer here at Icon Industries. Today we are joined by Jovon Quarles, retired Navy SEAL, entrepreneur, and co-host of Special Forces: World's Toughest Test, which you can watch on Fox and on Hulu. Jovon, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I am excited about this. This is our very first episode.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about launching this project. And I am thrilled to talk to you about everything. I just finished watching a few episodes of season 2 of The World's Toughest Test. I'm gonna tell you, that show is intense. But we'll get into all of that in just a few. First, I want to get to know you. So tell me about yourself.
Oh, man. Well, first, I got to give it back to you. I just always want to give everyone who gives me the opportunity a platform to speak out and give a piece about who I am. So I want to say thanks for having me on the show. 100%, I appreciate it.
No problem. Our
Thanks
pleasure, man.
Yep. Honestly, about myself, man, I'm originally from Washington, D.C., born and raised, born in 1980, right?
Nice.
East Coast guy. I was born in a particular situation, right? My mom was a drug addict, so back then we always called what crack babies was the terminology for it.
Right.
So I grew up in that I guess dilemma of life.
Right.
Didn't know who my dad was. My grandparents were the ones who raised me. My grandmother, my grandfather in DC, northeast side of DC.
Okay.
Mainly was raised in a house of 6 of us. My grandmother, grandfather, my aunt, my uncle, a family friend, me, and every so often, if my mom wasn't in and out of prison, she'll come back into the house. Of course, my grandparents loved it, right? So they ain't gonna kick her out all the time.
Right.
So she would be back in the house. So it's all of us, right? Growing up in DC. Some of my aunts and uncles, though, they tried to play that mother-father role for me growing up, in DC. So that was kind of cool. They was there for me like that. So I did that.
Nice.
And then at a certain point, when things got crazy, because like I said, I seen it all. I seen my mom getting pulled out of the house by the cops. I'm standing at my neighbor's front porch watching all of this happen.
My gosh.
Domestic violence, all that kind of stuff you get to see. And she just going back and forth. Crack house across the street, right across the street. You could see it. It's like right there.
Gosh.
But it was funny, though, growing up in that area, in that city, especially in the 90s, right? It was like everyone on that block knew my family. My family was pretty big. My grandparents had 9 kids, and my family was pretty, as far as aunts and uncles, they kind of was like out there. Everybody knew where we were. Okay. So I remember even just walking in the crack house sometimes, just going in there. It was just one of those things. It's like, hey, I was a curious kid. And everybody knew it. My mom was like she was a fighter, physically fighter, bro. She would fight anybody. She was a guy, girl. So, I honestly kind of walked around without no fear, kind of like I could do that. And then she moved me to North Carolina, my grandmother.
Okay.
She moved me to North Carolina. And while I was in North Carolina, because her mom, which is my great grandmother, was sick. So she's like, all right, we're going to get out of the city.
Right.
All this crap was going on up in DC in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So we moved down to North Carolina, country now, living on this acre of land,
Nice
trailer.
change of pace.
Totally different, right? I hated it at first, right? I was like,
Of course.
well, what is this? You know what I mean? I couldn't stand it.
Did they have you working out in the fields? Right,
That, man, they had me pushing lawnmowers and like all that. I'm pushing lawnmowers. Back then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wasn't electric. You had the ones with the blades that spin. And you got to push it.
You gotta
and don't
push
you love it when the grass is wet?
And all that. Oh man, you gotta yank this thing.
Exactly.
You got to put the it was a time. It was
Yeah.
a time back then. And so grew raised in that household until my great grandparents both got sick and they started to die at a time. And then me, because I was still having some stuff battling when I was coming up in school down in North Carolina, when I ain't know nobody for the most part. The main block was like my family, of course, but I didn't really know them when I was in DC. So I was learning everybody still. We was building that relationship.
Gotcha.
But when I was in school, I was teased a lot because I was still poor. I didn't have a lot, wearing some of the same clothes. I wore something on Monday, I'm wearing it again Thursday or Friday.
Right.
You know what I mean? But again, my aunts and uncles tried to play that role for me, try to give me more of that I guess that push of that feel of love from family. So but I was still in my own little head. I ended up having kids. I was a teenage father.
Oh, okay.
In high school. So I had my son well before I graduated. I was a football star too, so I started to find a little bit of who I was playing sports.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I was a local star for a minute, and then I had kids, and then grandma was like, "Oh, you're going in the military
For your own good.
for my own good, right?" She was trying to push that on me for my own good, and I'm like, nah. Right?
Okay, you fought it.
I fought it for a long time, right?
Okay.
Back in the 90s, you already know, brother, people wasn't looking at the military like it was a good thing.
Right.
Yeah. And my family, too, they definitely didn't look at it as a good thing. My aunts and uncles was like, you ain't going to those people's war, forget that, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But grandma was actually seeing a future that I needed. You know what I mean? And she was looking out.
That's good.
But none of us could really see it,
Right.
actually. Right?
Usually how things go. You get the wiser generations, then,
Couldn't see it. So then she told the recruiter who came to my house like a couple times trying to talk me into it, but she told him eventually that I love football. I'm a football player, running back, wide receiver, all that kind of stuff, right? Scoring all the touchdowns. So he's like, oh man, you can play football while you're in the Navy. And it made me think.
Yeah, spark your interest.
He got me there. He got me thinking. I was like, wait a minute, so I can play football and get paid so I could take care of my kid.
Yeah.
All right, well, that makes sense. That ain't too bad. Let's talk. And then I jumped on it, and then had a second kid coming right out of high school from a different girl. So I was still acting up, right?
You're a wild boy.
I was wild. Wild. Had two. And then this is just my background, some of the struggles again. So my mom is in and out, and then she's coming back to North Carolina. So we're dealing with all that stuff. I'm staying everything. My high school friends, they know who my mom is. She's like a local drug addict. People know what's going on. People know my family business now.
Right.
Same stuff going on. Cops, drugs, everything. I was dealing with in DC. She just brought it right down to North Carolina.
Gotcha.
So still went through all
Carried
that.
it with her.
And then finally joined, said yes to that whole thing, went to the military, blah, 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 blah. Some drama went on with, being a young dad or whatever when you're away from the kids. And
Right.
stuff. So all that drama dealt with. So I had to deal with all that and grow from that. Then I saw the SEALs. I found the SEALs.
Okay.
And when I found it, I wanted to do it. My grandmother was against it. Right.
Okay.
My grandfather already passed. He had a lot of health issues. So it's just me and my grandmother.
You're already in the military. You decide you want to join the SEALs. Why does your grandma have a problem with that?
She had a problem with it because she saw the movies and stuff like that. So she knew that it was a dangerous job.
Right. Gotcha.
Her main idea was just go into the military, just do your time, be safe, make some money, and get out.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. She didn't want you in it. When you get to being a SEAL, then you're really in it. Yeah.
That's SEAls are an offensive unit. We're meant to go out there and find the bad guys.
Right. Exactly. Kind of exactly. So she's looking at a more dangerous situation. Yeah. My baby. I got you.
Yeah. 100%. Man, 100%.
I got you.
So. That was a big push, man. She didn't really want me to do it, so I went through it. And what most people don't know, I had to go through it twice.
Okay.
Most people don't know. The first time I went into the program, I quit the first time.
Okay, got you.
I rung the bell.
Oh, wow.
I rung the bell, man, and it beat me up.
Yeah.
Beat me up, man. I was like hurt mentally and inside, like emotionally, because I knew I let something go that I can do. And my reasoning for doing it was more so to be bigger than what I came from, right?
Yeah.
Black kid from D.C. in the city, drugs, alcohol in the family, domestic violence, prison, all that stuff. Then grandma movies down in North Carolina, same thing starts to go over. Then I become a child, teenage kid, dad or whatever.
Right.
So I was trying to I was trying to make an example for Black people or any minority group that if you come up in these bad positions, even white, it doesn't matter, any group, because there's every culture has a group of people who come up in these bad ghettos and all that stuff. So I wanted to show across the board, everyone that's grown up in something that's a struggle.
Yeah.
Right. That you can change that situation.
Okay.
So I wanted to be an example of that. So being a SEAL from where I come from, don't know any Black SEALs, don't know any SEALs at all.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, I can do this. And so when I quit the first time, it really
because you weren't just letting yourself down, you were letting everybody that you had inspired or were inspiring you were letting them down at that time too.
Yeah, man, I mean, my kids, I wanted my kids to be able to say, man, my dad is a Navy SEAL.
Yeah.
Because they were living in North Carolina still at this time. So the training is in San Diego. So I want them to be like, man, my dad's a Navy SEAL. So when they go to school, there's nobody else in the school that can say that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want my kids to be super proud of that.
Right.
I want my grandma to be proud of that. I want my aunts and uncles to be proud of what I grew up into. So I wanted my friends who saw me come through school and all that stuff to understand what I've done. And all the people I've met throughout my time initially in the military.
Gotcha.
So that was the inspirational piece. And I think what most people don't get or understand that if something isn't about you, if it's something only about ourselves individually, right? Then you run into a challenge and then you make an excuse and you start to justify it. I can go do something else, and I let that happen to me.
I got you.
When I quit, man, I was this exactly how it felt. I started to think for a moment, I can just go back into the Navy and just do something normal, still serve my country, still say I did the military, and still say I tried to do this thing, this very intense, hard thing. Like try to be a doctor, try to be a scientist or whatever it may be. I tried this hard thing and it wasn't for me.
Excuse me.
So I tried this hard thing and I quit or whatever. And I couldn't go over this. So I was justifying a false narrative on my mind that, man, it's okay to do this when it's not okay.
Right.
It's just that we shouldn't want things to be easy. We should just want to be better. I should have been better in the moment. So it ate me up, man. It ate me up, and I was determined to go back.
Gotcha. How long did you wait before you went back?
The normal process is like a 2-year.
Okay.
They allow you to try to go back one time.
Okay.
But not everybody gets approved. They got to see what you've done in that 2-year time to be better.
The SEAL training, what is it called?
Buds.
Buds.
Yeah. Basic underwater demolition SEALs training.
Interesting enough, I'm putting this in there. So Shane did a recording or interview with the group of guys that kind of started that, or were very influential and created the name or the tag phrase. The best day or only easy day was yesterday.
Oh yeah.
That was that one. Yeah. I had the honor of editing and kind of putting that entire thing together. Very inspirational even for myself. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Gotta have you check it out. It was pretty cool.
Oh, I want to. Yeah. Let me see that.
Pretty cool. Got you, but didn't mean to throw you off. Go on. Keep going.
No.
So you went back into it now with a new mentality, right?
Man, a new mentality. I was upset because I had to go on deployment real quick. Went on deployment, and the whole time I was on deployment, I was working for it. I was like, I'm gonna get back in there. So I kept applying early, way more earlier than 2 years. So I was pushing hard. And then initially I got rejected because now my age starting to get in, because you can't be older. They want to keep you a little younger so they can use you for a lot longer.
Gotcha.
Right? So I got denied initially, but then I went and talked to a Master Chief Navy SEAL that I knew.
Okay.
Top dog in the SEAL teams.
Right.
And he knew me. He knew my background. He knew my ability. He knew my determination.
Right.
He just knew me as a man. He's like, I want your personality in the team. So I'm going to make a call, and we're going to get you back in here. He did.
Nice.
Next thing I know, 2 weeks later, I had orders. I was like, whoa. And it was like, as soon as I get back from deployment, I'm going back in. I was like, whoa, man. He made that happen for me, man.
Nice.
So I appreciate guys like him too, who, who can see who you are, see your character, see what you represent, and they'll do that thing for you.
That's awesome.
Because I think everybody needs some help. You know what I mean?
100%. Everybody needs to push. You need somebody to believe in you sometimes too. That kind of can make the difference for you. Because I can tell you how many situations I happen to live a life where I'm blessed enough to be surrounded by people that are constantly inspiring and encouraging me. So it's like, I hear a lot of times, and that's why, like, one of the issues I have with a lot of music and stuff like that comes out these days is because everybody's always talking about how they fought against the odds where everybody else was doubting them or whatever like that. Their haters were trying to tear them down and all that kind of stuff. And obviously everybody has their struggles they're going to come up with. Like you express your background, your childhood. That's a situation that is pretty intense. And a lot of times you could have fallen into the same demographic or, traditional issue, especially being a young black man, is like, we already know what's kind of almost expected of you a lot of times. And a lot of your life is consistently trying to push against that, trying to fight that narrative, that generational curse that goes from one to the next and to the next, and it kind of does that. But like everybody has their stories, and even I have mine where it's like in my childhood and life and all that kind of stuff, early days, that was rough. But I'm blessed now to be in a position where it's like I have family and friends and everybody that's constantly telling you, hey, yeah, you should do this. You should do. Even the fact that we're doing this show right now, it was like do it through that. So I 100% agree that inspiring people people need to be inspired. And it's a very pivotal, it can be a very pivotal moment in people's lives because you can do things that you never would have thought you were going to do, but you needed that push. That's great. So you go through the Navy SEAL training and all that. And so how long were you in the SEALs total before you like retired?
I will say totally about 15 years, somewhere around there.
Did you have?
But the main thing I want,
go ahead.
Just real quick, I want to back up. So when I went to the second one, the second time I went to Buds anyway, this is the main kicker that I want people to really see, right? Because like you talked about the inspiration, we all need that because we all come through that background. You see where you're at right now, right? That same thing. But at that same time, that second time I went to the program, as I was going through, when I graduated, because Buds is 6 months, then you go through a second extension called SEAL Qualification Training, SQT. It's another 6 months. So you don't become a Navy SEAL for a year.
Okay, gotcha.
That first 6 months, I ended up graduating top of my class.
Nice.
You know what I mean? And that became the first black person to ever graduate Buds training.
Nice.
Ever in history as number one in that class.
Okay, nice.
And then when I went to SQT, the second piece, right? I graduated that as the honor man again.
Nice.
And that was the first time again that ever a black guy has done that in Buds training. And then someone ever do that period twice back to back.
Right.
You know what I mean? And throughout all that training I was going through, my grandmother dies.
Okay.
Yep. So now part of my inspiration that I went into the program for, right, to make someone proud of what I can do and show her that I can be better than everything, right?
Right.
She's gone. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then they wouldn't, my aunts and them wanted me, they the one who called the Navy and all that stuff and let them know. But I was going to stay in the training pipeline because I knew she would have rather me finish and then wait and then get held up a little bit and then got to wait to the next class. So I wasn't going home. And then I got a call again saying they need me to come home because my grandmother made me her overseer, officiary, whatever it was. So I had to sign things and all that stuff for her, see the body first and all that. So I had to leave.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And when we had the funeral and all that stuff, the other crazy thing about it was on my birthday in August.
Wow. My gosh.
It just kept flowing. You know what I mean? These things just kept hitting, snowballing. But the family made it more of a celebration. That's
good.
We had that funeral, then we had a little celebration in my uncle's backyard for my birthday, celebrated that. They had cake for me and all that stuff. It was a beautiful thing. And then I went right back to training, and the command allowed me to stay with my class.
Nice.
I was gone for like 5 days or something like that. But they let me stay in, and then I still finished top of my class again. And that's how things went through. And then that's how that went through. So my name and my helmet that I wore through training is in the Navy SEAL Museum.
Oh, wow.
In Florida, Fort Pierce, Florida at the time.
Okay.
Back then. So I still haven't even went down there to see it.
Oh, man.
But they sent me pictures of it on display.
Nice.
That was cool.
I like to see that. Yeah. That's cool, man. That's different because, having an inspirational story where you actually become the first to do something like that's on a different level. I love it. I love it. So how did you take so when you got out, how did you take the teachings and trainings and experiences that you got as a SEAL and everything else that went into your life or you had gone through before into your next phase? What does life look for or look at?
Honestly, initially, there's a bit of struggle when you come out because I did 22 years total in the military. Okay. So when I first came out, because I had so much direction and orders and all that stuff, structure was already set up. I knew what everything was going to be like.
Gotcha.
When I got out, it was all gone.
Okay.
So I kind of was lost for a moment.
Okay.
So I had a little depression went in there, right? And one of my best friends, he lives in Utah. His name is Brandon. I had talked to him about it. And he told me he got out at his 14-year mark, I think it was. And he said he had the same type of situation when he got out. You know what I mean? Okay. And he had to work his way to get back out of that because that depression can get you. You know, there's a lot of SEALs, even this year, you know, who really committed suicide because of mental health.
Gotcha. I mean? Yeah.
So we've had that. And then I was in that place. He was in that place. Okay. So I had to get some information from him, talk throughout some stuff with him, and he helped me kind of find my way.
Gotcha.
And when I found it back into my fitness program, the Elite SEAL Fit. That's what helped me kind of like flow back into it. Because I was already trying to be an entrepreneur as I knew my years was coming out of the military. So I was already kind of getting out there and trying to be a businessman, going to conferences, mindset conferences, all that kind of stuff, listening to some of these top entrepreneurs at these events. So I was already flowing to get into that because I knew my time was coming. And then when I got out, poof, I was done for a moment. Okay. So then the gym opened up my mind, and then I was able to get back into the entrepreneurial phase, traveling the country, got to speak on some stages. Gotcha. Entrepreneur, fitness program, and that helped me because of my determination and the discipline in the military. It helped me guide me into like being so much better. Okay. Because as you know, being an entrepreneur is hard. Right. You know what I mean? Exactly. Most people can't do that because they expect something right away, but you can't.
Exactly. It takes patience, it takes diligence, and it takes commitment.
And time, right? So much time. But people think there's going to be an easy thing. Like, oh man, I could be an entrepreneur, man, make some money on my own. Exactly. Okay, yeah, you can, but guess what? You ain't gonna make money right away. You gotta understand and be patient enough to know that you gotta do some sacrifices. You're gonna be some long hours, longer than working a job.
Exactly. There ain't no 9 to 5 when it comes to entrepreneurship. You don't stop working. Yeah, I love it. When I see this meme or this video, is like they're like, oh yeah, I quit my 9 to 5 job for the freedom I thought I was gonna get as an entrepreneur. Now I work 24/7. He's like, hey, yep, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's the life, man. Yeah. So what is your entrepreneur journey? What does that look like for you? What kind of, now you mentioned the Elite SEAL Fit, right? Yep. Sure. Tell me about that. What is that?
The Elite SEAL Fit is a fitness program, right? Geared to body physique. Okay. Body sculpting.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ways. I want people to understand it from a Navy SEAL perspective, right? Because there's a lot of Navy SEALs out there doing certain type of programs, but there's a more so HIT training. Some are doing more so to help people get ready for buzz to be a Navy SEAL, but there's not really I haven't seen any. So I thought I can tap into that space of body sculpting, right?
Gotcha.
Bodybuilding.
Gotcha.
To really get for men and women to make you feel good and happy in your own skin.
Right.
Right. You know, for guys, we want the big arms, chest, back, abs, take your shirt off of here in California at the beach. Women, they want the abs, big booty, thighs, all that kind of stuff. So tight back. So the program is geared for sculpting their bodies. Right? Okay. So I teach them that. I do it in person, and I do a lot of it online. Because, I get a lot of customers online doing that. So they reach out to me, and they want the program, and I give them a program. I sell them the program, and then I do these weekly calls with them just to check and see where we're at, see what your body looking like, see what we need to adjust, and we make that happen for you. But it's been good. It's been really good, and I'm moving into more mindset coaching as well with that.
I got you. Now, I was on your website earlier today, and I saw something about what is it called? Like some kids, like you have some athletic or some like fitness programs or whatever that you're doing with kids and stuff like that. Can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah. I go to some schools. Okay. I was recently at a youth program. Basketball kids in Minnesota. So I do things with kids where I try to give them a motivational speech, but I also give them a fitness test at the same time. Make it fun for them.
Okay.
And give them a chance to see what it's like to be physically fit with a Navy SEAL. And I do that with kids. I do that with everyone.
Nice. That's cool, man. That's cool.
Or any corporate companies that would like me to come and do that.
Got you. Nice. So, okay. So we got a lot of information or a lot of background for you, but I want to get into really what the big thing that I wanted to talk to you about today, which was the show, the Special Forces, the World's Toughest Test. I watched a few episodes of that. Yeah. I have 1,000 questions I'm going to ask you about that. Yeah. But we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to show the trailer for this show. And y'all check it out.
For the celebrities coming out on this course, the cold is going to be the great equalizer.
My heart is open, eyes are wide.
This is far beyond anything I'm about to experience in my life.
I am standing.
Why are you here?
The whole country's pissed off at me.
I had an affair and
I want to take a beating.
Close my arms.
Few of you, if any, will remain at the end of this course.
I want to see what I'm capable of doing.
Use my legs.
this is going to be challenging.
Physically
My legs are numb.
Use my heart.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
And emotionally.
Use my voice.
What's on your heart right now, my man?
My daughter drowned in our neighbor's pool. I guess I want clarity.
I get bullied a lot.
I just wish I could be a stronger person.
You've come to the right place. It's going to be a big drop. Hope you prepare for this.
As much hard times as there is here, there's also a lot of accomplishment. Damn what I'd give to go to dinner with my family.
Okay, so Special Forces, World's Toughest Test. I want to know, first off, give me a brief summary of what that show is about.
Awesome. The show is geared towards, right? You have 4 instructors. I'm one of them. You got a Marine Recon, a SAS, British Special Forces, and SBS, British Special Forces.
Okay.
Our goal with these celebrities that's coming onto the show is to help them break through something that they've been dealing with, right?
Gotcha.
And it's not just for them. That's why when we have so much an audience of civilians watching it, they can relate to it.
Right.
Because so many people are dealing with whatever kind of struggle.
Exactly.
Addiction, mental health.
Yeah.
Fear of something, say like heights, water, stuff like that. And we try to show them how we can help push them over it. We put it in their face. You're going to deal with this right now.
Yep.
And we force them to go through it.
Yeah.
Force them to challenge it, right? And see what comes on the other side. But we also give them a piece of what it was like for us to go through our selection program of what it's like to be a SEAL, Recon, SBS, all that kind of stuff. And that's why we're always in them. The face, right?
Yes, they're intense.
They wanted it, right? You know, they want to know what we had to go through.
Right.
And Buzz, I mean, there's never a good day.
Yeah.
You can have the best day throughout the training. The instructor's going to find a way to make you feel like you ain't shit. You are not doing nothing right ever.
Man.
And it's all geared to see if he can break you.
Okay.
Because we can't shoot at you to see how we can challenge your grit, right? See how bad you're going to still be there for your brother right next to you, or your girl, your sister right next to you based off of the military, right? So since we can't shoot at you to see how you respond, we got to beat you down mentally and see how you respond.
You guys do not let up.
Don't let up.
Do not let up. It's like I was watching the show and I'm watching the contestants, and they're like, you can see them just kind of start mentally draining, and then sometimes they'll go back into that room or whatever they're sleeping in, and the cabin. And I was like, man, they have those conversations. And sometimes they'd be trying to encourage each other, trying to push each other, just think, of course they're going to be rough on you. They're not going to let up. That's the entire goal. But it was really interesting to watch people like I guess that's what's the beautiful thing about like these type of shows. And when you have people that are, okay, this is the challenge, this is the situation, and a lot of times it's not about getting past this challenge, it's getting past yourself, because a lot of times we doubt ourselves, and that will limit you before anything. It's like, okay, I know I can do the push-ups, I know I can do jump over this thing and all that kind of stuff, but my mind is telling me that's so far down. And it's like, it's very interesting. But I want to know, how'd you get involved with the show?
Oh, that's a funny one.
Okay.
Right? That's a funny one, right? But just to hit on what you said, everything you said is right. Everything you said is 100% right. That's the whole premise of the idea of what we're trying to show people in the show. And I think that's why people love it so much.
Right.
Because they look at these celebrities and they think celebrities are they always had a cush life.
Oh yeah, that's the point that we didn't point out, is the fact that the contestants are celebrities. You have Tara Strong there, you have Black China, or what you go by, Angela White.
Dr. Angela White.
Doctor, she got a doctorate?
Yes.
I did not know that. Yeah. They got you. But you see so much from people. I'm like, my gosh.
And Tara Reid.
Tara Reid. My gosh, man. And then what's the girl's name? JoJo
Siwa.
Yeah. And like all these people. And I'm like, man. And you watch them get challenged. But you were saying.
Oh, no. You're right. Because these celebrities, people think celebrities have never went through anything, are not battling things, right?
Right.
And it's something to show people that they're just humans too. You know, they go through struggles. You know, they're battling emotional stuff, traumas. You know, one of them lost her husband recently. You know, she was dealing with the trauma. You know, one of them a professional basketball player. His dad was on hospice, so you know they're dealing with things. And we're trying to show people, okay, that's the way life is. Life gonna throw you these hurdles that you gotta go through, but we're trying to show you how we can help you break through it. That you have in you the power yourself to break through it.
Right.
And that's the whole premise. So what you said was dead on, and that's the whole thing. Now, as to how I got on the show.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Man, that was funny. So there was last March. March 2023. And I got hit up on my Instagram.
Okay.
Because, you know, Instagram is like the way to communicate with people and see people all over the world. So I got hit up. Some guy, he was like, hey, with a British name on his IG, he's like, hey, man, are you a SEAL? Can I do an interview with you? Can I talk to you and just ask you some questions about your career? I'm seeing this thing. I'm like, nah, bro, I don't know who you are. This is stupid.
Right.
But he kept coming at me.
Okay.
And then I went on his page and looked and kind of scrolled through him. Then I started Googling his name, trying to find who he was. Okay, he's a real guy out in UK, London. So I'm like, all right, I agree to one Zoom, right? So we do a Zoom. I didn't really agree to the recording because he wanted to record it.
Okay.
But then when we got on, I saw his background, saw he's a slender guy, and I was like, okay, he doesn't seem like a schemer, a scammer.
Gotcha,
right?
yeah.
So I said, all right. So I started to agree to some things. So I give him some stuff, let him know a little bit about my career, but I'm not fully, completely in agreement or understanding what this is real.
Okay.
So he asked if I could do another Zoom after that one. I'm like, all right, I'll do another one. I'm just playing along. Completely still not believing this is real. This is like mid-March, going into April now. And I'm like, all right, got another Zoom with these two women. I'm like, he's trying to break me down with these women now. He's trying to get my good side. He's trying to I'm going to give him two women and see if he can break them down a little bit.
See what he do. He's soften him up. He's a little apprehensive right now.
Yeah, that's what he's trying to do, right? I saw that. So I'm talking to these two women. I'm like, okay, giving them a little bit more, feeding them just a little bit of breadcrumbs, right, about my career. And then they want to do another Zoom, right? And then then I get on a Zoom with another girl, one of the same girls from the last one. And she had somebody else on it, I can't remember. But then they start asking me, how do I respond as an instructor? Right? Have I ever had experience in that?
Right.
I'm like, yeah, I did that when I was coming out my last couple of years in the military as a SEAL, right? I did a little bit of instructing. So I was like, yeah, I could. And they was like, can you act it out right now? And I'm like, act it out right now? So give me a scenario. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I got to act this out. All right, I give it to him. So I give it to him, getting hard on it, right?
Okay.
And they liked it or whatever. Do another Zoom. All right, here we are going into May now, right? I've just been doing, I am still not 100% believing this is real. I'm playing along though.
I'm playing along just to see how long
it goes. Playing along and just going to see what happens, you know what I'm saying? And I just go with it. And then I apparently got on one with the director of the UK production company out, because the whole production is based off of UK British side.
Oh, okay.
Fox pays them to create it. Because
Gotcha.
They've already had 7 seasons of this stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
In the UK, they got a lot of it already.
Gotcha.
So he's on it, and he's like, blah, blah. He's saying the same kind of things, asking me how I respond this way. Would I be like starstruck and if a bunch of stars was in front of me? I'm like, no, I look at this, as much as respect I give them, because they are experts in their craft.
Yeah.
I feel the same way in my craft.
Right.
know? But I also feel at the same time that does not mean people in this world can do what I do.
Exactly.
There's many people can do what they do, but there's not many Navy SEALs in this world.
That's very true. So, very true. It takes a different type of skill sets and mindsets.
Right. So I look at them as regular people, and I'm humble, and I give them all the respect in the world because they deserve that. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. You know what I mean? So we go through it again, and he's like, okay, can you do one more Zoom? And all these Zooms so far has been at 9 a.m. California time.
Okay.
So it's not too bad. I'm cool, right? But this last one, he's like, can you do it at 11:30 p.m.? I'm like, okay, here we go. And this is now I'm going back to the scam. My wall is back up. Y'all were breaking the wall down. Now it's back up again.
Gotcha.
So I go out there, right? And I go out there. I'm doing it in my car, 11:30 p.m. I'm like, what's going on with this one? And what happened was when the Zoom opens up, it's the other 3 hosts of season 1.
Okay.
Foxy, Billy, and Rudy.
Okay.
They're on it. And now I was like, oh. Okay. All right, let's do it, man. And then they was like, listen, we've seen your Zooms, we've seen some of the videos. We'd like to have you. We love your personality. We'd love to have you on the show.
Nice.
And I was like, I can work with you guys. Let's go. I'm all in. And it just goes to show you, man, if you be patient, if you keep working that stuff, if you put yourself in the right position, if you line yourself in certain things, you just wait. Your time will come.
Right.
And if I wasn't putting my stuff out there on Instagram, my businesses, because I mean, whether I'm at a conference, I'm showing everything on Instagram. When I'm speaking on public, I'm showing it all on Instagram. When I'm doing my fitness for my Elite Still Fit, I'm showing it all on my Instagram page, all my social media pages. Yeah. Because I was so consistent with that. Someone saw my potential. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Especially in this day and age of social media. And because I was that consistent with it.
Exactly.
A door opened. God opened the door for me. And,
that's awesome.
And from that point on, I jumped on. So that thing went from March to May. Okay. And then boom, I was flown out the next week.
Nice.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy.
Nice. So you get in front of all of this stuff, all of these celebrities and all of that kind of stuff. You guys building out all the different challenges and all that stuff. Was there anything in there? Because, so I'll put it this way. So as I'm watching the show and I'm hearing a lot from some of the other people, and then I hear you, and it's like, man, it's one guy, he's like in there, it's a little bit like extra in there, just a little bit extra in there. I'm like, man, and sometimes there's a part of me that's like, I want to kind of feel sorry for the contestants. Obviously, the human side, you watching people struggle, you watching them do things that I've never even dreamed of doing. Like climbing climbing between mountains, there's rope and you gotta, you're harnessed to it, and you gotta not just crawl across, but you gotta do this crawl where you got one leg dangling and one leg on there and going across that. I'm sitting there like, my gosh, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna make it through that? But you have those challenges. Now, do you ever look at those challenges and be like, because like you've been, how long have you been out of the Navy?
I've been out the Navy since June of 2021.
Okay. Oh, so it ain't that far from you. Got you. Because sometimes there's part of me that thinks like, man, would they still be doing this? Like, when somebody approaches, why don't you come over here and do that? But you'd be like, oh man, nah, I don't want to do that. What would you say would be some of the most memorable moments? Like, obviously, we want the audience to check out the show, but just give us a taste as to like your most memorable moments in that second season that you're like, okay, this person watching either overcame the situation, or I know like watching them see it go through a challenge that kind of just stuck out with you.
There's a bunch of those, but if I can say something that really took me and just got me like, wow, it was this and I think it's episode 6 or 7 maybe, is where we do this climbing through the mountains. We have them dragging this sled. We call it the pulled pork day, and we are having them carry this equipment. And the scenario is kind of geared. All the scenarios are geared towards military in some fashion. So this is geared to, we got to get gear, ammo, weapons, right, water, food, from one location to another location.
Okay.
Like a resupply.
Right.
So we had them have to understand what it was like when we have to do it in real life. So we had them have to carry this stuff on a sled as 2-man teams, and they got to figure out how to get to the next destination, to the end point, and it's a long way.
Oh, okay.
And it's a long way, and it's up down. I mean, it's snowing. I mean, it's blizzard winds coming sideways, and to see what the grit we was putting on them, like the effort we was pushing into them. I was in some of their ears the entire time.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't show much of it on the show. I mean, you see some still.
Yeah,
but if you could be out there for the whole 2 hours, that's how long that thing took, instead of just a quick 10 minutes that they give you on the show.
Yeah,
you'd be like, wow. To see them go through that. It was so cold that day. It was snowing and it was blowing so hard. The wind was whipping through us.
My gosh.
And they're dragging the sled with 2 5-gallon tanks of water in it.
Oh my
a tire, some chain, and something else they had to carry.
My gosh.
And they were dying, but they were still just gritting it out, you know.
Yeah.
They were just getting after it, you know. And no matter what we were saying into them, you know, whatever we was putting in their ear to see if we can get them to quit, you know, they were still going.
Still going.
You know, I remember one of the contestants, her name is Erin. She's the girl who was the Olympic skater.
Gotcha.
You'll see her with the dreads.
Yeah.
Oh, the braids. And I was really trying to just eat at her and see what I can get her to do, see if I can break her mentally.
Gotcha.
She was struggling for a moment, right? But like all of them are, right? They're malnourished for the most part.
Yeah.
They're not drinking enough water. They haven't slept enough throughout this entire time.
Right.
So their body's as weak as they've ever been in their life. So now they got to deal with me in their ear.
Yeah.
And all the other hosts in their ear. Trying to break them down more to see what they're going to do.
My gosh.
And she said something to me. She's like, it wasn't like, get out of my face. It was like, you ain't going to break me. It was just something like, no matter what you say, I ain't leaving. Even though I'm struggling, even though I'm dying, even though I'm tired, I'm hungry, I'm cold, sweating, even colder. She just kept going.
Wow.
You know, and to see it for all of them.
Yeah.
All of them on that day, that particular day.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I remember one moment in that day, I was yelling like, this is awesome. You should accept this. This is what you asked to be out here for. You'll never do something like this again. This is what we crave in the military and the special forces. We crave environments like this. We want this because we're crazy. You know what I mean? We want this.
They're like, man, something wrong with this guy.
They are. I was at the top of the mountain, man. I was like at the top of the mountain, just like, yeah. And I remember I did that. I honestly did that. They didn't put that in the show though.
Man, that's insane. Now that has to be episode 7 because episode 6, there's this key thing that stuck out to me in episode 6. So, like I said in the beginning, like I'm watching you in the show and I'm like, man, these guys is rough. So then I'm like, all right, cool. They're going through, and you watch some of them. But as time goes on, you know, somebody yelling at you. You're like, man, I'm done with this. I mean, we saw it with Angela. She was like, nah. She cracked me up because she was ready to fight day 2. She was not playing. It was hilarious.
On that, just speak on that part about her ready to fight that day and that birthing, right? Just to add, just one thing we was talking about, because remember, this stuff is unscripted.
Right.
We're trying to make them fight themselves and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
We want them to also be a friend, but, you know, be a team together. But we also want to see if we can create some fighting and see how they respond to it. So while we was thinking about how we can do that on the show, because we as the hosts, we don't get to see what's going on inside their birthing.
Okay.
We don't see nothing.
Okay.
To the end. So we were trying to figure out how we can create that. Right? And then when the show came out and we started watching it, I was like, they was already fighting? I was like, I had no idea. I was like, they were fighting already without us doing anything in there. I was like, oh man, that's crazy. We had no idea.
That's hilarious. I was
idea.
My gosh. You saw some people there. I was like, oh man, she ain't gonna last. I commend Tara Strong, but I was like, you
Tara Reid.
Tara Strong is a voice actor that plays Harley Quinn, Bubbles, and a bunch of other voice actors. That's what I keep saying. Tara Reid from American Pie.
Yep.
I've never seen that movie before. Wink, wink. But
old school.
Yeah, but but my gosh, man, like she was pushing through. She was going. She gave it everything she had. I commend her just for being able to go through. Like there is a point, and it's like, okay, you're significantly older than like sometimes the people like you know, when you were young, like, and you worked and had all this background training and all that kind of stuff to push you to be where you're able to accomplish what you're able to do as a SEAL, right? And do some of these trainings and some of the exercises and all that kind of stuff. Some of these people ain't built for that. They ain't built for that. No. So it's like, hey, even though you may not have made it all the way to the end, by the fact that however many challenges, or just by the fact that you looked and faced it and said, you know, I'm gonna try this out, you have an accomplishment there. And it's like, cool, let that inspire you. You don't need to be, it's not as black and white as, hey, you know, like you didn't make it to the end, so you lost. Like I think contestant number 1 had a heart condition, right? So he ends up like he ends up being taken off of there not willingly, right? So it's like, hey, you know, it is what it is. So you had that. Spoiler alert, by the way. Anyway,
yeah, gotta watch the show,
right? Exactly. But going back to episode 6, one thing that stuck out to me, which I absolutely love, I thought it was hilarious. You're barking in these people's ears and all that kind of stuff. You watching them, they're getting upset and everything. And then before the episode ends, they get their revenge, basically.
Yeah, they did. Yeah,
so they get pulled out, and they're like, "Alrighty, now explain to me what the point of this challenge was, because it looked like just a opportunity for them to release some aggression, which was you're in all this gear, this armor, and they come in, and you're not throwing any punches or anything like that. You got your guards up, and they're just wailing on you, try to take you out, try to beat all the aggression out. Explain to me what the point was for that.
Oh yeah. So they did have some fun at that. I volunteered,
especially
to
for you, because you was the one. I was like, man, either you were extra that day, or the editors just was like, hey, we're pointing out, and we're gonna tell the story of why they were so happy to be able to get you.
Oh man, and they were having fun with me too.
Oh yeah.
So the point of that idea, right, is to teach them about aggression.
Okay.
Right. Controlled aggression.
Okay.
Because when you're in the special forces, you have to be able to handle your anger and your aggression.
Gotcha. Because
you have everything on you. You got your gun, you got your grenades, you got your charges, right? Your TNT, explosive charges.
Yeah.
So when it comes to combat, you got to be able to manage your aggression. Right? Well, your aggression can get you in a position where you're just overly aggressive.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing what's going on.
Yeah,
around
you don't want to be seeing red.
Yeah, you don't want to be seeing red. You got to still be able to manage the scenario. Right. You know what I mean? You got to be able to control that situation, because you're going to have to get yourself hurt and then cause somebody else to get hurt.
Right.
Or get yourself killed and cause somebody else to get killed. So that part of the scenario is teaching them how to find that fight in them, be able to control themselves, control their aggression, get out there, get after it, and then stop it. Whenever, like when we in a fight or something like that, in some kind of combat in special forces, you got to be able to turn it off when it's time to get out. Okay, we got to move now. It's time to get out of this fight, or the fight is over. We got to keep going. You just can't keep running, chasing people. You can't be chasing the fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what we try to teach them, how to get that aggression, do it, and then when we say stop. And sometimes you'll see some of them, they got stuck. They kept going. They wanted to stop. And that was the whole point.
Yeah, he's like, no headshots. Somebody was like, I'm going for the head. Thought you was Thanos when he said, should have went for the head.
Oh yeah, my head bounced off the ground too. I felt it. Luckily, I was in that suit, and that suit was hard as a brick, right? Because I couldn't move, man. I felt like a tree when I fell down.
Yeah.
Because you was that stiff.
You just sitting there. You got somebody coming at you, just wailing on you, man. That was crazy, man. I know you had to had a lot of fun during that show, but also had to learn a lot. What would you say some of your takeaways that you were like, okay, get this new experience? What would be some of the takeaways that you can get, like for yourself as well as the audience? Because obviously you want to inspire the audience, but what else?
Honestly, I feel like I could have been better.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean? I don't want people to think when they're watching it that we're just blind, mindless, angry instructors. Right?
Gotcha, yeah.
There's a cause and effect to everything that we do. Right? There's something, a point we're trying to make into why we're saying certain things, why we're doing certain things,
right?
And putting them in certain positions to see what happens to them.
Okay.
And that's how we do it in all our military training, period. So it's not like a mindless beast. We're just going out there just yelling and screaming at people just for the hell of it, or we're faking it. No, we're giving you exactly what we had to deal with to see if we can break someone. So I learned as the first time being on a major TV network like Fox and Hulu, right, that certain things I should have said that I didn't say on the show to test people, and some things I said that I shouldn't have said.
Okay.
Right? And then when we bring them in certain positions where we're asking them questions, now we're showing a different side of them. Like like for example, Jojo Siwa.
Yeah.
Right. When we brought her in the room, the glass, we call it the mirror room. And we're talking to them about, this is an opportunity where we're trying to help people find something deeper about each person now.
Right.
That they probably never heard of from that person, or that person just never put it out. Jojo Siwa had a scenario where she was in the mall when a gunman came in. You know what I mean? And no one knew about that. And when she put that out there, it was like, wow, really? You was involved in that. You know what I mean? She witnessed that stuff. So we want people to really catch that, pay attention, right? Everyone goes through something. Right. These celebrities are not just proof. They just became.
Right.
They've gone through traumas themselves. They've dealt with, heartache, mental health issues. And we all do. So we all got to have that grace to give people and understand, hey man, they did it too. You've done it. We've all done it. I've done it. And we can get better. We can do better. And then there's always growth. Just because I was on a TV show, don't think that was my best piece there. I can always get better.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing I want people to take from it. We can always get better.
Constantly elevating, I love that. Got you. So you guys are starting production on season 3 now, right?
I just got an email just 2 days ago saying that we are in great talks right now with Fox. Fox wants to do another.
Nice.
We ended up being Fox's #1 unscripted TV show.
Nice. That's
2.
Awesome.
Yeah, we crushed it, man.
How does it feel to be a part of that now?
Oh man, it's a blessing.
Yeah,
it's a true blessing because, like I said, the way it came to me, it was like God knew this was time for me to finally take it. Because I've always wanted to be a part of something like big that I can impact the world.
I got you.
I've always put that out in my life.
Yeah.
Always put it out. And so when that happened to me, it was like maybe my life is changing now to what God or whatever people who's watching is, whatever they believe in, is now seeing that that you are now worthy of that time.
I got you.
Now you're ready to be able to take it and run with it. Because I probably wasn't ready years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I
exactly.
mean? So I thank God for that whole ability, man. And
that's awesome.
Because now it's opened up other things. Now I'm able to speak more, speaking engagements. I've been on a few interviews, major ones on Good Morning New York.
Nice.
I've been at The View, met Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's been out there now, and it's put me in a position that I can really impact more people. And
that's
I'm
awesome.
writing a book right now, and I just want to get out there and continue impacting lives. So when I die, there's millions, if not billions, of people that I can say I've impacted them in some way.
I got you. Yeah, that's. I keep saying the same phrase over and over again, but it fits. It's very inspiring. It's inspiring. That's the way that you live your life now. And when you get to a point like we were talking about earlier, when you're living in your life in a way that is not necessarily, you don't just accept challenges and do certain things for yourself. You do this for other people and who else can be affected or impacted by it. It gives you a greater motivation to do things, right? And so any opportunity that you have to impact people's lives in a positive way, it's like always jump on that. It's like not living for yourself, it's living for others, That's how society thrives. That's how we actually do better. That's one of the big issues is that fact that people are so selfish these days that they're so wrapped up in the me, that they can't see like, hey, how you're affecting everybody else. But if you're going out of your way and accepting challenges and taking opportunities that you're looking like, hey, I can do this. And my goal and my mission has always been to inspire and to, to build others up, have them do that. Take some of the experiences that you have to say, hey, I went through this. You can go through a version of this as well, and look at how much better you are now than you were before. It's a great thing. But I've thoroughly enjoyed talking with you. I want to give you an opportunity. If there's anything else that you want to share with the audience, anything, if you in your socials, your social media, it's not your social. Don't share that with people. But your social media, your projects that are coming up. Where can people find you? Tell us.
Well, I mean, they can find me mainly on my Instagram. I'm really good on responding to people on my Instagram, either through comments or even DMs. Which is my first and last name. So Jovon P. Quarles.
Okay.
Or go to my fitness page, Elite Seal Fit.
Okay.
And either one of them, I'll get back to you there. And I get some of the projects I got coming up, man. And like I said, I'm writing my book soon.
Yeah, nice.
That's gonna be coming out, and I plan on launching that right at the right time.
Okay. When you do, come back.
Oh, I will. I will. I like the fact that you got a lot of these military special forces books already over here, so I'm going to add to that collection.
I love it.
I'm doing more speaking engagements right now.
Okay.
I'm traveling the country right now, so I'm about to be at different gyms. So just follow me along.
You're a hard man to get a hold of.
Oh yeah.
I tried to contact you. You was in London and all of that. I was like, what you doing?
I'm trying to travel, man. The world. I'm free now because my military time I couldn't really travel like I want. But now that I'm free, I'm like, man, I can just do it now.
Yeah, that's nice.
So I'm just getting out there. So hit me up on my Instagram. That's the number one way they can get in touch with me, and we'll go from there.
Awesome, man. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. You guys be sure to follow Icon Presents. Be sure to check out the Icon Presents website. All the links and everything that we want you to keep in touch with will be in the description below. Y'all take it easy. Thank you.